Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Man Industries India Limited's Q1 FY22 earnings conference call. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Mahantesh from Man Industries. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. I, Mahantesh, Manager Investor Relations, welcome you all to the Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of Man Industries India Limited. I have with me from the management Dr. R.C. Mansukani, Chairman, Mr. Nikhil Mansukani, Executive Director, Mr. Ashok Gupta, CFO, Mr. Jatin Shah, Group Head, Legal and Company Secretary. Remarks from the management followed by Q&A. Please note that this call may contain some forward-looking statements involving risks and uncertainties. The listeners are requested not to put any undue reliance on facts presented during the call. With this, I hand over the call to Mr. Nikhil Mansukani, Chairman, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, everyone, and a warm welcome to the earnings conference call. I hope every one of you and your family are healthy and safe. Before we begin with the highlights of the quarter, I would like to inform you that all the board of directors in their meeting have approved the recommendation of redesignated Mr. Nikhil Mansukani as a managing director of the company with immediate effect, subject to the approval of the shareholder. The re-resignation, keeping in mind the future growth strategy and bringing in young leadership into key management roles of the company. This plan will help the company to near heights. He will be leading the new capex plans to the company along with the furthering the current setup. This is all from my side. I would like to hand over to Nikhil Mansukani, who will take you through the business and financial performance.
Participants are requested to please stay connected while we reconnect the management. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the line for the management reconnected. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, so thank you, Chairman, sir, for your good afternoon to all the participants. Firstly, I wish to thank the Board of Directors for showing the confidence and appointing me as the MD of the company. I would like to ensure you that the roles and responsibility expected out of me will be implemented and would be closely working to accomplish strategies which we as a company have laid down for us. Coming to the business performance of the quarter, I would like to highlight that the resurgence of the COVID-19 in April had created a lot of hiccups in our company and our manufacturing activities, and a few of our employees were also infected in the case. In order to safeguard the security and safety of the people, we had taken extra precautions for our employees. And also, we made sure that most of our employees are well vaccinated with minimum 1 vaccine dose. And right now, I think more or less most of the people are vaccinated in the factory. We are pleased that the majority of our employees are now doing well. And the cases in the month of April and May, as well as the shortage of oxygen, led to a process of because of the oxygen used in our welding process, and we had to supply a lot of oxygen for the medical help as per Gujarat government, and that is why we had some production problems in the first quarter. We also encountered some logistic challenges due to the regional lockdowns and limited movement. But we have overcome all the challenges and shown a steady performance for the quarter and are confident to achieve the target for the rest of the year. Our plans to disinvest the non-core business and focus on our core business is on track, and we'll be pleased to inform you further details in the Q&A. Our strategy to enter the ERW steel pipes and steel bends is on track as well, and we should be tentatively completed by first quarter 22. Now coming to the financial performance for the quarter. For the quarter Q1 FY22, the total income was 410 crores. The EBITDA stood at 45 crores compared to 555 crores in quarter 1 FY21. The EBITDA margin at 11%. PAT for the quarter was 19.3 crores, up by 12.7% year on year, and PAT margin stood at 4.7%. We continue to see the traction for our products in oil and gas industry as the customers are planning to ramp up the capex plans. Also, schemes like National River Linking, Har Ghar Jal, huge potential, and would result in slowing down companies like us. In addition to this, the aim to reach 30% national gas consumption by 2030 is in the total energy mix with further boost demand in steel pipes. As on date, our order book stands at around 1,500 crores, and the bid book stands at around 10,000 crores, the order book will be executed in the next 6 to 9 months. We expect that our enhanced manufacturing capabilities and excellent execution capabilities will enable to scale our businesses overall. And overall, we remain committed to the set of the agenda and delivering consistent, profitable growth. This is from my side, and over for the Q&A.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Yogan Jeshwani from Mittal Analytics. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So, firstly, congratulations to Nikhil sir on being appointed as the MD. Sir, my first question is to you. Now that you are the MD of the company, so if you could share, your thoughts around, what would be your vision for the company going forward, and again, your thoughts regarding how will you like to change the image of the company, the past perspective that investors have. So, any thoughts that you could share on your agenda for, the company in coming few years?
So, thank you so much. So, firstly, the outlook of the company since I've joined, we are already looking at further expansion on the company with the first project which I already started, which is for the bending and ERW. And secondly, I'm looking at strengthening the processes in the company, which is for our execution, as well as to cut down our OPEX. So we are working hard on all the redesigning some structures and as well as upgradation so that our productivity is better. And whole in all, obviously the heart of the business is the marketing, which I'm focusing fully so that we get in better orders with better bottom lines and we can perform better. And overall, we are on a growth path now, and we definitely aim to, every year give a return of at least increment of 10% growth per annum, and hopefully 3 years down the line to increase the EBITDA margin also up to between 11 to 15%.
Fantastic, sir. And any thoughts around, sir, improving our image within the investor community, or thoughts around, value creation for minority shareholders?
Yes, we already are working on that with the value creation, obviously with the growth and the returns on the equity. We're already working on that. And with the investor relationship, I think there is more transparency from our side, and as well as the reply in the system from our company secretary and everything, we are more vigilant so that even the minor shareholders are replied to on time. And obviously, it's a learning process, and your comments and remarks are well noted, and we'll keep working on improving that.
Great, sir. That's really good to hear, sir. So my second question is with regards to the input price volatility. So now that we have seen a very sharp run-up in, the steel prices for the last couple of months, and then again some correction is expected going forward. So whatever the case may be. So what I want to understand from you is how does this, ups and downs in the raw material steel impacts us, and what kind of margin hit or can we expect going forward because of the previously higher steel prices that we have seen in the last couple of quarters, or do we have some pass on agreements in our contracts built in which insulates us from any such volatility?
So regarding the steel pricing volatility, basically our whatever tender we bid for, and when we take the tender, we have a back-to-back arrangement with the steel mills. And any given point of time, we always have a back-to-back arrangement with at least 3 to 4 people. And so it's basically shielding us whether the steel price goes to 80 rupees or 60 rupees kilo. We are pretty well shielded because we take a back-to-back arrangement. And on the basis of that, we quote forward and take our orders.
Okay. So basically for every order that you get, you place a similar kind of order at the back end. So there is no volatility in terms of raw material that you expect.
Yes, more or less. Only maybe sometimes we don't hedge around 10% of this. We keep it open-ended. And 90%, more than 90% is covered. Because 10% we try and look at the market scenario. The market is fluctuating. So we, as well as the quantity is also a little bit changed when bidding and getting the order. So that's the only unhedged portion.
Understood. So, sir, if we then look at your gross margins quarter on quarter, there is a quite bit of volatility there. Just between your last 4 quarters, I think quarter on quarter there's on an average 7 to 8% of a difference in gross margin. So, is this more due to product mix?
Yeah, it's mostly due to product mix.
Understood. So now I think you mentioned about a handsome order book of around 1,500 crore. So with those orders, what is the kind of gross margin that we should expect for the full year? Ballpark figure if you could share, sir.
We can our industries we can gauge year to year, not quarter to quarter. So year to year, for historical, we maintain 11 to 12%. Depend product mix, maybe 11 to 13. What kind of coating, what grade, the mix basis. This year also we will be next to maintain same little bit growth, the EBITDA as well as to the turnover.
So this is operating margin you're saying, right?
I'm talking about EBITDA.
Yeah, EBITDA. So my question was on the gross margin. So given the 1,500 crore kind of order book that you already have, so on a ballpark basis, what kind of gross margin does this order book has for us? Because you must have booked your raw material based on this order book already. So we should have a fair bit of an understanding of what our gross margin could look like. Because EBITDA will again have a lot of other components. That's why I'm not going into the EBITDA. So EBITDA can vary a bit. That's why I'm focusing more on gross margin, sir.
Gross margin will be between 30 to 32%.
30 to 32%. For the full year, right?
Yeah, for the full year.
Right, sir. And so my last question is on your capacity utilization level. So currently, what kind of utilization levels are we running at?
This is currently we are between 40 to 50%.
Some pockets are,
Got it.
although depend on the product mix basis, some pockets are available sometime. This 1,500 crore order, we have to complete, our target to complete before March. But some capacity is available for the future orders, which we already bid around 10,000 crore is our bid position right now. So we are hoping to get the future orders, and our excess capacity can be utilized. And we have to see if we can pass our target, our projection figures.
Okay. So, sir, if my understanding is correct, so with the kind of current capacity, and let's take the kind of realization that we're having now, if we keep it to that level, so is it fair to say that with this capacity we can do a turnover of something like 3.5, 3,500 crore to 4,000 crore? Is that understanding right, sir?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Because of the depend on product mix, what kind of are coming in the market. We can this same capacity without involving and without putting any additional money. Even we can reach 3,500 up to 4,000, depend on market product mix, what behaving the market in future. Every product having the different size, different grade, different things. But definitely we can achieve a figure whatever you have.
Great, sir. That's really helpful, sir. I'll get back in the queue for any follow-ups that I may have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kaushal Vora, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congratulations, Nikhil, on becoming the MD of the company. There are few questions from my side. First, since you have said for the full year EBITDA margin will be 11 to 13%, what kind of growth are we expecting in the revenues? Can we expect 15-20% growth for the full year?
This side we can say our projection is safely we are working to expected around 10% increase.
Okay.
8 months are still to go in the year. Order flow, etc. We bid for 10,000 crore bid. We will see if we are getting accordingly. This figure may change.
Okay. And what is the current debt for the company?
Zero in the month of. We don't have any long-term debt in our books.
Yes. And short term?
Short-term working capital facility is above 100 crore.
Okay. And one more question about that selling of that non-core business. What is the status of that, if you can say?
So it is in process. We have got a few inquiries, serious inquiries, and we are very hopeful that by this year we should be able to resolve the issue.
Okay, so that will help in capacity expansion.
In the product capacity expansion.
Yes, product capacity.
Maybe the product range and other
product range.
Okay. And can you please tell us the status of that MAN Infra listing? What is the status?
You see, sir, there is a different group. We completed our work and we call the record date. MAN Infra Projects is a splitted group.
Yes.
And we do not have any much information about it. Okay, what they will do and how will do. That is beyond our control.
So we have, at MAN Industries, we have complied to all the information required, submitted, and we put it to the court. And now court is supposed to do the needful.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
Just to add on what Chairman Sir and Nikhil Sir have said, we have already approached the Bombay High Court along with the list of shareholders requesting for direction to MIPL to issue and allot the free equity shares to members of MIIL.
You are right.
And the matter is sub judice in Bombay High Court.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Okay, that's it from my side. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pritesh Chheda from Lucky Investment. Please go ahead.
Sir, on the margins bit, considering that last year we had executed a lot of international orders with a higher margin, and then there was, I think, 60-70 crore of either some write-off or provision. So adjusting for the both, what should be the margin expectation for FY22? And what kind of volumes you are likely to do in FY22, and what volumes you did actually in FY21?
So we already given the expected figure, our projections, and total growth of 10% to 10 to 15% we are expecting. But considering the good bid, this figure might change in future. And the margin EBITDA, we already given the right guidance between 11 to 13% anywhere. So then we are expecting the good, reasonable growth company.
In volumes, how it should look like, sir?
Volume, as Nikhil already indicated, was between 10 to 15% of the total volume in top line.
No, I was asking absolute volume. Last year, how much we did, and this year, what is the expectation?
Last year, we did around 2,100. 2,100 volume. Volume will be. We do not have the figure of volume right now.
Okay.
We'll provide the details. We will provide you.
No problem, sir. Okay. And in this 10,000 crore of bid book, what is the expectation for win ratio?
What is the win ratio?
So tentatively, our win ratio is always between 5 to 10%, and tentatively is around that much.
Okay. Is it fair to hypothetically, if the orders are supposed to come, let's say in Q2, then a chunk of those orders will get executed by the year end?
Not Q2, Q3 will be continue because all the orders has to be completed in next 6 to 8 months. That's why whatever the order book position, it will be come in the balance sheet in coming months.
And the new orders when we get, it is always based on the timeline of the client. It is so probably a lot of orders we get. Some of the orders are executed by March, half of it, and half it gets rolled over. So it's all client to client dependent.
And the steel is hedged back to back. Is how you would operate for the existing order backlog that you have? Is there any risk on steel price?
So we hedge it back to back.
We hedge it back to back. Most of the quantity, as indicated earlier, also 80-90% we hedge back to back. There is some small quantity left out, and then we'll see at the market. Are the sometime order conditions, quantity up and down, some conditions in the purchase order, that we have to keep in the mind and accordingly work.
Your per ton or per kg conversion profits largely remain intact, barring the fact at what scale of capacity that you are utilizing.
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
I said your per kg conversion, or let's say a per kg EBITDA or per kg per ton EBITDA, will largely remain intact,
Yeah.
barring the extent of capacity being utilized. Hello.
Yeah.
You got my question?
No, we didn't get your question, Pradesh.
I said so if your steel is back-to-back hedged, is it fair to assume that your profitability per ton or per kg is largely intact?
Yeah, it is pretty much it's hedged, so we don't get that much fluctuation in our levels because we are back-to-back.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, a reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. The next question is from the line of Ayush Agarwal from Mittal Analytics. Please go ahead.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir, and congratulations.
Mr. Agarwal, if you can speak closer to the handset, please.
Am I audible now?
Yes.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir, and congratulations, Nikhil. So my question is on the order book. For a long time, we have seen that, this has been stuck in the range of 1,500 crores. So your thoughts on that would be really helpful of, how, we understand that there is a huge order pipeline standing and we have bid for that. But we don't see an uptick in the, order book size. And I think in the last one of the con calls, you had mentioned that you plan to reach 3,500, 4,000 crore revenues in the next 2-3 years. So without the order book getting large, how do you plan to do that?
So Ayush, this is Nikhil here. Thank you for your comments. So number one, even on my last con call, I was very clear that I don't just work for the top line. Bottom line is equally important to me. Number two, yes, we are working for the next 3 to 4 years to reach basic top line, but that is with the expansions of our product mix. The existing business, yes, currently we are seeing a growth, like we mentioned, that we are seeing a growth of 10% per annum. So last year we did around 2,100 crores top line, and this year we are looking between 23 to 2,400. With the current situation in the country, we are looking forward for that. And end of the day, it's a yearly business. We can't always depend on the quarter because a lot of certain orders get executed in certain quarters, in certain, different quarters. So that's also been an issue. But definitely that we are looking forward for the next 3 years to reach approximately 3,000, 3,500 crores top line. Also, one more answer to your question is for me to go and take water orders, which is availability in ample in the country. But the problem is, again, all the margins get shaken up because the water orders, comparatively, the EBITDA margins are lower. But it's more on a turnover business. But we as a company take a conscious call that we want to do limited business in water because the margins are not great. So that's why the orders, when the turnover moves up, it's mostly based on oil and gas. Almost 90% is based on oil and gas.
Right. Okay. So what you're saying is that water business is not very remunerative and stick to the oil and gas business. Okay. So
Our focus.
Sorry?
Our focus is mostly on oil and gas.
Correct. All right. My second question is on the receivables and the cash flow status, because last quarter we had seen a massive jump and you had mentioned that was because of lockdown and other COVID-related issues. So are receivables back on track, and what is our cash flow status in this quarter?
The March quarter, we had the receivables almost close to 700 crores. And
Correct.
at this moment, our receivable stands at around 450 crores.
All right. So we have received a chunk of what we were supposed to receive at the end of Q4.
Receivables already been received during the quarter. And now the receivables position is well in line with our business plans and the estimates.
What would be our cash position at the end of this quarter?
Cash.
I can say that as of now, since our last number of receivables has already been realized, the utilization level of cash credit limit is at this moment is hardly anything.
Right. All right. I'll come back in the queue if I have more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Manish Gupta from Solidarity. Please go ahead.
Nikhil, can you explain how your hedging works practically? Because you as you've explained that you bid for an order and you tie up your raw material prices back to back. But given the fact that there is no firm timeline between the time you bid for an order and you get a firm contract, how do you practically work with the steel mill to ensure that you are fully hedged? Can you just give some comments on that?
Yeah. No, so I'll give you the answer. These are two parts. One is when we work with the Indian PSUs, the process is we have to put the bid, which is always we put at the higher level than what is the current market scenario. Suppose I've got a steel quotation, we always put much higher cost because that's the in principle bid that we put in. After we put in the bids, then the government has the PSU has a process of a reverse auction, in which we can reduce the price of that day's or steel price, and accordingly whoever's the L1 gets the order. So we always take, when we do the RA, we take the price of that day's steel, and the same day if we get the order and the RA is closed the same day and you come to know who's won the order, we book the steel the same day with back-to-back with the steel guys whom we booked it. This is majorly for the PSUs in India. Whereas for abroad, whenever we give any offer to any EPC, it is done with a condition. See, like current scenario is a very, with an abnormal situation in which we give them, if we bid for an order in abroad, we give them a timeline of 7 days or 10 days to confirm the order. Because that's the letter timeline we take from the steel industries, whether it be international steel guys or local steel guys. And if they ask for a further validity, then whatever the current price is, we take the fresh price and then we resubmit the bid as per that levels. So that's why every time we commit, that this is the reason that we always are, we're not left open-ended. The only thing which even the chairman said is that we leave certain amount is open-ended because a lot of orders of ours have a quantity variation of 2-3%. They can ask us even after placing the order. So that steel we have to place at that time, and that's pretty much the only open-ended effect that we have.
Very clear. My second question is that, do you see opportunity to cut some overhead and fixed costs from your current fixed cost base?
So we are already working on that. If you see, our interest cost has already gone down. So we already interest is one portion that we are looking at. Other than that is we are also doing some capex to reduce the OPEX cost. Some bottlenecks are there, and we are creating that so that it will be better production, better output, which will in turn give a better OPEX cost, operation cost, and which will help us in our bottom line.
Right. And lastly, Nikhil, given that you are trying to sell your non-core asset, and you will have cash flows from that for your incremental capex plans, you've generated about 45 crore of EBITDA.
Yes.
Seems like we lost the connection for the current participant. We move to the next question from the line of Pushkar Jain from Sequent Investment. Please go ahead.
So sorry, I just missed your receivables number. So last quarter to this quarter, what is the change?
Sorry, Pushkar Ji, we couldn't hear you. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so I actually missed the receivables number. So from last quarter to this quarter, what is the change?
So receivables from last quarter was 700 odd crores, and this quarter is 450 crores.
Okay, so we expect to maintain this level of receivables in relation to sales?
Yes, this is as per the norms which we follow.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Sharaj Singh, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good afternoon. Sir, I want to ask, what is the status on the Merino shelter deal? As in last call, you were informed that it's supposed to conclude soon, and we had some active discussion with some prospective buyers. So what seems to be the delay there?
So, Sharad, regarding the sale of the non-core asset, we've already made an application to our bankers for the NOC, and also we have got prospective purchasers, couple of them. So we are awaiting as we get the NOC of the bankers, and the ball will get rolling and we can start the basic documentation. And we hope to close the non-core asset by this year.
Is it fair to assume we receive some binding bids from the buyer?
Yeah, we will. Once we get the NOC, and basically it has been delayed last 6 months is only because of the COVID, because the traveling issues and everything. Both of them are international investors, so that's the reason for the delay. But there will be, once we do the documentation, there will be some fund as a token which would come to the company.
So this can be expected by?
It should, the deal should be closed by this year. This financial year we should be closing it.
Okay, great. And so what is the cash in hand on the books at the quarter end?
Yes, as I said, our current level of working capital utilization is very negligible as against the available cash credit limit of 150 crores.
Essentially, it's net zero.
Pardon?
A net zero then.
No debt. No debt.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Mansi Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you for the opportunity. My first question is, sir, regarding ERW facility. So when do the company is planning to start the production, and what is the current progress about the same?
So ERW, we have already ordered all the machinery, and we had expected the delivery of machineries by around Feb and March, and from there 3 months to get the up and running. So basically by first quarter 22, we should be in trial mode, and from that we have to get some certification of American Petroleum Institute API certification. So we should be in full swing by second quarter 22.
Okay. Okay. So the next question is regarding the same thing. What is the competitive landscape in the ERW pipe segment, and what is the market size that we are planning to target?
So there are 5-6 players, competitive players in the market, and we would get a market share of anything between 10 to 15%.
Okay. And last thing, if you can throw some light on water segment, as we can see the budget allocation has increased and the vision of the government has also increased. So are we seeing any order or tendering happening, and what is the target we have to take orders from this segment?
So water segment is looking better now with the COVID situation better in control. All the state governments are looking for the expansion for the water pipes. We work on certain levels that we only take certain orders beyond the EBITDA level. We do not go very, very aggressive on water pipes. And that is going to be a core strategy for the company going forward also, that we will be bidding for water sector, but we won't be very aggressive. If it's in our price range, we would be going and we would be taking the orders. But there is movement from the government side for the water sector.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. A reminder to the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 at this time. The next question is from the line of Rajendra Shah, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir. Hello.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
How are you, sir? Fine?
Good.
Hope so everyone is fine.
Yeah,
regarding ERW steel pipe, sir, first, last call you had projected some 130 crore rupees project cost. Now it has been revised to 150 crore. That is the first thing. Second thing is, EBITDA margin you have guided for the 10 to 12%, where the present producer are getting 5 to 6% margin. So will you please explain how you will get 10 to 12% EBITDA in this?
Okay. I will reply. Rajanji, about 130, 150, it was estimation was 130. Still the project is under progress. But we estimated 150 actually, including contingencies, etc., etc. That's why here we are indicating 150. It's not any great difference.
Okay.
Regard to ERW.
No, that is due to the raw material cost like steel explanation or anything which you have revised.
As you are a chartered accountant, you understand we put the contingencies amount in our project report. Which much will be utilized, how much this time is very difficult. But that's why we are saying 150 crore. It may complete in 135, it may complete 140, 150 is the outer limit, we are saying.
Okay, sir.
With regard to ERW pipe, I fully agreed with you if they make the small tubes and for water transportation purpose, water transmission lines, then you are absolutely right. But we are not going that segment. The company policy, we have purchased this plant only API, and that's why the API is a higher segment and a lot of difference between water pipe and iron pipe. That's why EBITDA would be as per the market, which is going on right now, 11 to 13, 14, even 15% in ERW pipe. Because the city gas distribution is a full swing going on in the country, and it will continue in the next 10 years, as the API pipe is allowed to put only the gas transmission line, not water pipeline you can put in the distribution system.
Okay. So for getting this API approval, how much time it will take to us, sir, after this putting up the plant?
Sir, because of the API, we have already API in all the mills. Our 90% procedure on the paper during the construction period will be completed.
Okay.
And only 10% the physical inspection. Nowadays, also they do not come here. We report, since we are API holder, the 5 API license we already have. That's why it is very easy for us. We are anticipating in 2 months it can be completed. So only paper submission and approvals.
So how much turnover do you expect in the year 22-23 from the ERW pipe after stabilizing in the second quarter, sir?
Yeah, we are anticipating the year 1 will be partly we will get around 250 crore turnover in year 23. And subsequently will increase in year 23-24 segment. We are facing more than 800 crore year 3.
And regarding value-added product, 100 crore rupees, where you are bending, making some extra steel bands.
Yeah.
And that will be getting over by April 22. So how much out of that 100 crore you will get benefiting to the turnover?
The value-added turnover, the value-added product is not a turnover, is a more profitability.
Right.
So bending equipment is already in transit. And our other products also this way. Some coating special also we are putting. There is not a very big money involved, but lot of profitability will jump and our market share will increase because we are completing the range.
So it will be like that coating what we are getting the extra margin here also in bend we will get a extra margin.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir. Thanks a lot and wish you all the best.
Right.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to Mr. Nikhil for his closing comments. Over to you, sir.
So thank you everyone for your participation in Q1 FY22 earnings call. In case any further queries, please feel free to get in touch with us or Pareto Capital. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Man Industries India Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.